Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my business educational platform. Remember, we were discussing the chapter number 4 that was about free consent and wide agreement. Today, we will discuss what the wide agreement is. So, basically, wide agreement is the agreement that is not enforced by law. Under the Contract Act, specific types of agreements are expressly declared void. So we cannot formulate agreement against these things. So what are the examples of void agreements? The examples of void agreements include the uncertain agreements, illegal agreements, impossible agreements, agreement with incompetent person, agreement made without consideration, agreement in restraint of marriage, agreement in restraint of trade, agreement in restraint of legal proceeding, and wagering elements. So how we will define the uncertain agreements? Agreements that are not clear or cannot be made certain. So we are sure that they will not be certain. That type of agreements are known as uncertain agreements. Then we have the illegal agreements. Illegal agreements that involve illegal activities or purposes. Suppose for we cannot formulate of selling the agreement of selling of the drugs, so it is not enforced by law. We cannot sell the drugs as per Pakistan. Then there exist the impossible agreements. Agreements based on acts that are impossible to perform. We cannot make the agreements that you have to bring the stars from the sky. So that is impossible to perform. So then we have the agreements with the incompetent persons. Certainly we cannot formulate the agreements with the minor or the unsound mind or the person that is disqualified by law. So then we have the agreements without consideration. We cannot formulate any agreement without consideration. If there is no any consideration means something of value, then there is no any agreement. Then we have the agreement in restraint of trade. Agreement that limit a person's freedom to trade or conduct business. Then we have agreements in restraint of legal proceeding. Agreement that restricts someone's right to take legal action. Then there exist the wagering agreements, agreements based on bets or wagers where neither party has control over the outcome. So we cannot formulate the agreement that certain party will win and I am formulating an agreement. So they are uncertain as well as wagering agreements. Then what will be the effect of void agreements or collateral agreements? Collateral agreements means agreement dependent or linked to main agreement. Then if collateral agreement depends on void agreement, it also become void. I hope you understood the idea behind the void agreement and understood the examples of void agreements. So now we are moving forward to the agreement and restraint of trade. So an agreement to restrict someone from conducting a legal business or profession is generally void. However, the law provides certain exceptions where restrictions are allowed. Exceptions include sale of goodwill. So goodwill is a intangible asset. So when a person sells the goodwill of their business, they may be restricted from starting a similar business. This restriction is valid if it applies to similar business as one sold. It lasts only for a period the buyer is conducting the same business. It is limited to specific legal boundaries. The local limits are reasonable considering the type of business. So we cannot formulate an agreement that you have to sell the goodwill of this business. So goodwill is a intangible asset, so we cannot formulate any agreement on that. Then we have the agreements for existing partners. Partners may agree to carry on similar or any other business during the partnership. So if partners will not be allowed to perform the same business with someone else, you have not formulated the agreement. And now you are moving forward to agreement, formulate the agreement with them. Then we have the agreement for outgoing partners. An outgoing partner may agree not to start a similar business within a specified period and local limits after leaving the partnership. The specific period and local limits must be reasonable with respect to the nature of the business. So now we are moving forward to the agreements and restraint of legal proceeding. So what is the definition of legal proceeding? An agreement is void if restrict a party from enforcing their legal rights, limits the time within which a party can enforce their legal rights. So exceptions, there exist also exceptions to agreements in restraint of legal proceeding. There exists the exception behind the arbitration agreement, out of court settlement, no appeal agreement, and the choice of court. So, what is their explanation? Parties can mutually agree to resolve disputes through arbitration instead of going to court. So, suppose we have any disputes arises in the agreement, we can solve it with our own selves, like the offerer and the offeree can solve by themselves. They have not, it is not necessary to go to the court. Then we have the out of court settlement. Parties may make an out of court settlement and can submit an arbitration agreement to the court to formalize it. Then we have the no appeal agreement. Parties can agree that they will not file an appeal in higher court after a decision is made in the initial court. Then choice of court. Parties can agree to select one court from multiple equally competent courts to file a suit, ensuring the dispute is handled in a specific jurisdiction. So I hope you understood the idea behind agreements that are in restraint of legal proceedings. So till now, Allah Hafiz, we will continue it from our next lecture.